very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for years and years and years, we've said something is wrong in the Athabasca River, but the government continued to deny that millions of litres of toxic tailing yuck was and is leaking into the groundwater and then into the Athabasca River. And the most recent Environment Canada report confirmed this. So to the Environment Minister. Why did the government repeatedly ignore calls to look into concerns that these leaks were affecting the environment, wildlife and people's health?
Good question.
Honourable Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I can say to you, Mr. Speaker, that we take very seriously all of our environmental monitoring up in the oil sands area of the province, and especially around Fort McMurray, Fort McKay and Fort Chipewyan. And Mr. Speaker, I can say to you that we are continuing to put more monitoring in place, and we will continue to do so, working with the federal government to make sure that we do a proper job of monitoring now and into the future.
First supplemental.
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Speaker. Back to the same minister. If the government was so concerned, why didn't it insist that Directive 74 be fully implemented? That is, stop creating new tailings ponds and get rid of the old ones as conditions for allowing more developmental permits.
The Honourable Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I say to you that we are working closely with industry, and industry is doing a very good job putting money into technology and research to make sure that we don't have to develop tailings ponds in the future. And Mr. Speaker, I can say to you that I've had very good discussions with industry, and when our tailings ponds framework comes out, I've made it very clear to industry that we are going to expedite the cleanup of our tailings ponds.
Final supplemental, Honourable Member.
Oh, good grief, not another directive thing? Okay, to the same minister. How can the government ensure proper environmental data quality when CEMA and other environmental science-based agencies are now dependent on funding from industry, especially when we've had the example of industry pulling their funding from CEMA not once but twice?
Honourable Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, industry hasn't pulled their funding from CEMA. As a matter of fact, they're committed to pay for CEMA this year and into next year. And, Mr. Speaker, I can say to you that when we bring a mirror into place, which was the Alberta Monitoring Agency, that we will have good science. We are engaging with all of our scientists from the University of Alberta, University of Calgary, and from around this country, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that we get it right. And, Mr. Speaker, I can say to you that we are committed to making sure we do a good job up in the oil sands region.